So I know a lot about email and Mailchimp, but the word expert has just always been weird to me because I'm like, I'm still learning. Like Mailchimp changes things daily, and I'm still learning things.
Welcome back to For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. I am Eric Verdi. With us this week is Emily Ryan from Westfield Creative. She is joining us from Chicago, but in today's world, it doesn't really matter where we're getting our guests from. We had New Zealand last week, Australia last week, so we're branding out. We had England. So welcome, Emily, from Chicago. So you call yourself a Mailchimp No, I call you a Mailchimp expert. You call yourself a Mailchimp.
Mailchimp partner or Mailchimp certified.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because on the Mailchimp website, they do have something called the experts directory, and I am listed in the experts directory. But I am officially part of their partner program, which means they kind of found me. And an interesting story how they found me, which I'll talk about on Instagram. They found me, and they invited me. They saw I was doing a lot with email and teaching people how to use Mailchimp, and they said, "Why don't you be part of our partner program?" And there are a lot of pros and perks with being a Mailchimp partner. I am literally on a Slack channel with the partnership team at Mailchimp. I can Slack them messages, ask them things. I have like a direct line to support at Mailchimp. We get news about their product releases before other people do. And I've had some really incredible opportunities come my way because I'm a partner. And then recently they launched Mailchimp Academy, which is for Mailchimp partners only at this time, and we can get certifications in different things. And so I got my Mailchimp Foundation certification. That was a course that I did, took a test at the end. And then I just recently, like 2 weeks ago, stayed up late, like every night this one week, and did my email marketing certification through Mailchimp. So I have those 2 certifications. So I know a lot about email and Mailchimp, but the word expert has just always been weird to me because I'm like, I'm still learning. Like Mailchimp changes things daily, and I'm still learning things. I definitely don't know everything about email marketing. So it's just hard, it's hard to call myself that.
Yes, but do you know what an expert is?
Well, tell me, what is the definition of an expert?
I don't know the exact definition, but I do know in the entrepreneurial world, like when you're out there teaching or you're an expert, is that you know more than the audience that you're talking to. So with anything in life, yeah, we're never experts. And if you ever get to that point and you say, yes, I'm stopped learning, or I'm stopped evolving, or I'm stopped figuring out tips and tricks, then somebody's going to pass you. But if you're teaching, if you're helping people, if you're helping business owners and entrepreneurs like you are on your platform and your company, you are seen as an expert, which is awesome. So how did you get started with email marketing and Mailchimp?
Yeah, and that's a cool story too. So I was living in New York City for many years. I was actually an actress. I was a singer and dancer. But I needed a paycheck. I needed a stable job and a paycheck. So I ended up in my career working for a startup company, a nonprofit startup, and they kind of let me, I was the 3rd employee, and they let me take this job and kind of just run with it. And one day we decided we should send out an email to donors for donations. And I was like, oh, I've heard of this program, Mailchimp. And so we sent an email, and we ended up getting a massive donation from this one email. And I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. So that was like my intro to email and the power of email. Mm-hmm. And then in New York, I had a baby. This was 6 years ago. And I was like, I can't work 10-hour days, 8 to 6 in an office and not see my child. Like, I would see my child 1 hour a day. And I had a really big problem with that. So I actually went to them and asked if I could work remotely. This was like a massive turning point in my life. When I went to them, I literally crafted a plan on paper and with stats and numbers. And I said, listen, if I work remotely, you're going to save this much and this much and this much. And I also threw in that I was going to move out west to Lake Tahoe, where my family lived, and work remotely.
Okay.
Crazy. But we were ready to get out of the city. We had been there 12 years and wanted to move out west. So we moved out west, and I said, okay, now I actually, I had a couple, my company gave me 6 months. They said, listen, we'll let you work remotely, but eventually, it's probably not going to work. So we'll give you 6 months. So during that 6 months that I still had that job in New York, I was like, listen, I got to figure out how to make money from home. I love computers. I know programs. I know systems. And people kept saying, Emily, you can make money doing this. So long story short, I joined a Facebook group with business owners. It was a very large, this was years ago. I don't think it's around, but I posted one post about, I had created a little website. I said, oh, could you guys look at my website and give me feedback? I'm starting this business doing this and this. And I got my first client from that Facebook post. And then it just kind of went from there. And I kept getting more clients, and then the referrals start happening. And now it's 5 years later, and we have like 20 clients, and it's insane.
So what are you doing for these clients?
So originally we started doing pretty much any kind of digital marketing work. I was doing social media for clients for a long time. I was doing, whatever they could dream of asking me to do, we'd be like, sure, we'll do it. But then I started noticing everyone needed Mailchimp help. Like every client of mine was like, oh, but I need to do email. And so I just kept finding this pattern, and I love design. I actually love email design, and the, kind of studying what's in my inbox every day. Like I'll look at an email from J. Crew and be like, ooh, like that works, that doesn't work. So I was like, listen, we're going to niche down, and we're just going to focus on Mailchimp and see how that goes. And that's what we've been doing. And it's been when we decided to solely focus on Mailchimp, and also we do websites still. Things just really took off.
So Mailchimp, for listeners and viewers that don't know, is an autoresponder email campaign, right?
Mailchimp has changed a little bit in the last couple of years. It is now, they call it an all-in-one marketing platform. So you can do way more than email marketing. Obviously, you can create emails to send to giant lists. I mean, if from 100 people to 1 million people. Right. But you can also now make a website in Mailchimp. They have a websites feature. They have surveys now. They have landing pages. Landing pages is one of my favorite Mailchimp features, because you can make, they're free as part of your plan. Right. They have postcards, like actual in the mail postcards you can design. They're really cheap to send. And they have this like address finder that will find people's address on your email list if you don't have it. It's crazy. So there's a CRM portion of Mailchimp. So it's a big marketing platform that's very easy to use. The company is incredible. They're based in Atlanta. They have like 1,000 people there. And one of the best companies I've ever just seen in terms of how they treat their employees. The money they're giving back is nuts. So I'm just a big fan.
All right,
I've got lots of these guys sitting around.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious. So okay, so not quite an autoresponder. So like not like Aweber. Like I used Aweber for years, and that was simply I'd go in there and type out an email, and it'll go out to my mailing list. I've converted over to doing all that on ClickFunnels, which.
But they do all that too. The automations, automated emails. I do a lot of welcome automated emails for clients, all in Mailchimp.
Awesome. So they have expanded their services to offer more for digital marketing for companies, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So exactly how long have you been an entrepreneur?
That's a great trick question. Officially, I would say since 2015. Okay. But I would say most entrepreneurs say their whole life. I used to have a greeting card business where I designed, I just started with nothing and I designed greeting cards and made a website and sold them. And I went to the National Stationery Show to display these cards I used to make. And I used to make bangle, like these copper bangle bracelets that I would sell that had like, phrases in them or whatever.
Right.
So I'm always looking for like a way to make a buck.
So you can't sit still. Your mind's always thinking. You're always doing something.
Totally.
Awesome. So Westfield Creative, is it you, or do you have a team of employees, or how is your business structured?
Yeah, so officially it is me, but my sister, who is older than me, she is really the other 50% of my company. She is technically a contractor, but we literally share the business 50-50. So we're working on restructuring that. But she comes from a really cool background. She worked in Seattle for many years during the .com boom in the 90s. And she's actually the techie one. She codes. She got her degree in IT. She's like that. She's a smart woman. So she does a lot of the technical stuff and does not like to be shown, likes to be, behind the screen. Whereas I'm more of the client-facing arm of the company. And then we have several subcontractors as well.
Like VAs or?
Yeah, so I usually have about 3 different subcontractors. Most of them do Mailchimp work. So I'll say, I really need help designing this email today. Yeah, techie VAs.
Cool. All right, so why don't you share your screen here? So Emily's going to do a explanation dive, some tips and tricks on Mailchimp. So I will tell you, email, staying in front of your clients, offers are important in any business. Collecting data. The more data that you can collect from your clients, I know that's what Mailchimp also does, especially if they can go out there and find an address for somebody just off of an email address. The more data that you have about who's looking at your post, who's opening your emails, the better. So Emily's sharing her screen now. If you're listening to this podcast, go check us out on YouTube or on the Facebook page for Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs with Eric Verdi, and check out this video tutorial that Emily is going to run through quickly.
Awesome. Yes, I'm going to show you a few tricks. But before we do that, you made me think of something that I just want to show you. And I do this often just to show people the power of email. This is a client of ours, and I just want to show you guys this because it literally blows my mind. So they set up a welcome email here for people that subscribe on there, and hopefully you can see my screen.
Yep, you can see it.
That sign up for their pop-up. This is a home goods retailer shop that has beautiful home furnishings. And you sign up for their pop-up, just those silly little pop-ups, and it has a 10% discount. And you get an email that says, here's your code. Very simple email, took maybe 10 minutes to make. And you guys, look at this, $37,000 has been generated from this email. We have this connected to their store so we can tell what happens. They're abandoned cart emails through Mailchimp. That means someone put something in the cart and then they, decided to not check out. And then we shoot them an email saying you left this in your cart, go back and we'll give you 10% off. That has generated 12,000. So this is the kind of stuff that makes me so crazy excited about email. When I see, any client we have, we send an email and I check the next day and it says, oh, you made, $1,100. And so that's something I get really excited about. And in our team, we really work hard to figure out, tactics and look at the data and figure out how we can make them money off an email. Do we need a really large button? Do we need really short text? Do we need an awesome subject line? They're just all these little things that you can adjust to make, hopefully make more money. So I wanted to just show you that. Hopefully that excites you a little bit. And then I'm going to show you just a couple tricks for an email campaign. So when you're in Mailchimp and you have your email campaign, You usually get kind of a basic template. They do have tons of beautiful email templates, but if you start out with a basic template like this, there is so much you can do. So I just like to show people some fun little tricks. So these social icons down at the bottom, that's one thing I always like change right away. You can, make them small, you can make them big. There are so many like little things here. So I'm gonna make that solid, and we're gonna save and close that. Changing the background color of your email, obviously, to anything you want. But I want to just show you, so one of the tricks in email is really having a good amount of white space. So I use these divider lines in Mailchimp, and I use them for white space. So I will come over here to the right and I will remove the border. So now you see it's just white space. And I can change that to like, 30 by 30, and I have a large chunk of space now. I personally love to really make the emails short and simple and modern so that people will read them. So that pulling in these divider lines and giving your email some good amount of space is always a good idea. And I love having one other little trick I like to do with Mailchimp. So I'm going to upload, let's just say we have, I'm going to put in this image here. Obviously it's way too big, so I would have to resize it for email. But if you click on settings on the right, I always click this edge to edge button. And this really isn't a great example because it's square. But what that does is it just takes your image all the way to the edge, see here, all the way to the edge of the email.
Mm-hmm.
And many of our emails, you guys, are simply just, I'm going to be very clear, it's just a headline. So we'll put like a headline text here. I mean, I could design an email here in probably like 30 seconds for you guys. We'll do a nice headline. We'll do a big image. We'll do maybe 2 sentences of text at the most because people just don't like to read text. Unless you're an entrepreneur and you're writing a story or something. And then we do a nice button to shop. This is just a simple email. We're not really featuring any products. But this is the last thing. So buttons, I love to customize. In Mailchimp, they're always defaulted to this blue color, but I always change them and make them a little bit, I make them bigger. So I'll make the padding like 25. I'll make this like 18. And I'll
Can you make like the shop now like yellow or red?
Yeah, you can change, anything. Let's see here. Button text.
Yep,
Shop
like
now.
that.
Yeah, and then you can change, you can change the fonts and stuff as well. So if you're, I recommend always trying to stick to the same font for all of your branding. And so then you have, kind of a prettier button. And then we always just preview. Obviously, this is very random, but you can see just kind of the layout. And the other thing I always like to mention to people, the footer of your email, this is kind of the default footer. This can be completely customized. The only thing you're required to have is the address. You have to have an address to show people you're an actual person, and you have to have an unsubscribe link. So everything else does not have to be there. So a lot of times, or I'll even change our mailing address to something fun, like you can find us working daily at, like something like that. You can change that. So I like to just tell people, don't be scared to really customize things and make it your own.
So does Mailchimp send out their own emails? Because I know when I do my campaigns on ClickFunnels, it has to run through SendGrid.
It has to run through SendGrid. So does Mailchimp, you mean when you go to send your email through Mailchimp?
Yeah, so when I go to send my email from Mailchimp, is there like a third party that it goes through before going out to the client or audience member, or does it go? Okay.
Yep, everything's through Mailchimp. They have 14 million customers, so they have very sophisticated, email sending, procedures and ways to make sure you don't end up in spam and stuff like that. So.
Right. And I imagine Mailchimp has some sort of try before you buy or free 14 or 7 or 21 days. that correct?
Yeah, so they really became popular because their service was free. So they still have their free plan, which they've made very clear they will always have a free option. But if you want like multiple automations, you have to upgrade, and their plans are really affordable. You can get, I think one plan's like $10, one's 20. They have three different plans you can upgrade to.
And then obviously when you go and they're doing the all-inclusive and doing surveys and CRM and stuff like that, that's obviously more expensive.
Yeah, there's certain features you have to upgrade.
Awesome. So being a Mailchimp expert, I know you hate that, but being a Mailchimp expert, because I believe you are you teaching Mailchimp to anybody, or are you just doing this for client work?
Yeah, so I was actually found by Mailchimp because I do a lot of tutorials on social media.
Okay.
So I do on Instagram, which I basically live on. I'm sure many of you guys do. I was doing a lot of stories, Instagram stories, where I would do like a Mailchimp tip every day and walk people through it and make it kind of fun and just make things really easy. So my favorite thing to do is to teach people how to use these programs in a way that's like super easy. So I used to do this with Facebook ads too, because people are so scared of Facebook ads. And I'd say, listen, it's just an ad. Like, I'm going to show you it's just an ad. And I'd walk people through it. So I used to do a lot of one-on-one tutorials where people would pay, for an hour tutorial, and I would walk them through. And it really is my favorite thing to do. I would rather teach people than to design emails all day long.
Love it. So how would listeners and viewers find you, Emily?
Yeah. So I think the quickest way to find me is on Instagram, actually. And my name is Emily Ryan Likes, Likes, like I like your photo. Emily Ryan Likes. And I am also at Westfield-creative.com is our website, Westfield-creative. So those are probably the best places.
Awesome. So if you are an entrepreneur, business owner, and you need help getting eyeballs on your campaign, help getting revenue from email marketing, or need website design and or help putting together a landing page,
Yes.
right? Check out Emily Ryan at Westfield Creative. That's Emily Ryan Likes on Instagram and Westfield-creative.com. Right? Good?
Yes.
Any parting words for our audience, Emily?
No, I'm just so happy to be here. I think the main thing I just tell people is what's really cool about working for yourself is you really can go as far as you want to go. That's the most exciting thing to me. I know that I'm not capped at a certain salary, like in my former jobs that I've had. Like if I want to make $1 million, I can do that if I want. So I always say, like, sky's the limit. It's anything's possible. Yeah.
Awesome. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. That's Emily
Awesome.
Ryan, episode 23 for Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs, and we are out.